let's just say, play devil's advocate a wee bit and say that somebody's listening to this podcast and saying, right, that's all well and good, but how do I do that? Like, I think a lot of the time, a lot of people end up in sort of audiobook rabbit holes, YouTube rabbit holes, with people talking about like strong mentalities and the power of now. Like Eckhart Tolle's somebody that I've read that book and I've listened to what he said and I love it, but it's suitable for somebody like me that's been on a journey, and I know how to centre myself and I know how to ground myself in my body and remain present. He doesn't really tell you how to do it. So if somebody was listening and saying, right, okay, I need to just be comfortable in this situation, I need to get through to the other side, and then I'm going to be a stronger person, I'm going to be able to deal with anything, but right now I'm having a panic attack, what would you, how would you help that person?
Yeah, so again, like you, I can fall very guilty of, because I'm 15 years into this journey, I could start talking about all this stuff that people that are just maybe starting out and trying to think more positively or whatever would just want to understand. So it's quite good that you asked this. For me, it's all about the internal dialogue, right? So it's the thoughts create the feelings, the mind follows the body. And for people who don't study the mind in that, what that basically means is if you're sitting thinking, I would ask you to think about like a happy time, somebody you love, like your favourite ever memory, your best experience in your world, that you're going to start to feel good, aren't you, right?
Yeah.
So it conjures up those emotions. If you were to start thinking about somebody who pisses you off, like, or a situation that's just scary, stuff that doesn't feel good, you're instantly going to start noticing that in your feelings. And so for me, it's about how do we then start catching that negative, those thoughts that are coming up, that then turn into our views and how we're feeling in this situation. So if I was a person and I was worried and I was like watching the news, first thing actually I would do was turn the news off, because that's basically just you're self-torturing yourself. Like, why are you self-torturing yourself? And I don't want to piss people off, but that is what it is.
Yeah.
And they know it. And so the problem is then that we make these scary films and movies in our own minds, and we make catastrophes up that don't necessarily, I mean, people have killed off the whole family in their minds, and their families alive, do you know what I mean? And so it's how we speak to ourselves, ultimately is going to create how feeling better about this situation. For me, in simple terms, how you start reprogramming that and retraining that is you want to catch your thoughts when they're at wee pebble sizes, right? So if you start to catch yourself worrying, you start to catch yourself engaging in something that's not helpful, then you want to catch it when it's at its weakest point. Once if you don't catch it then, it starts growing arms and legs and you've started killing your mum off, your dad off, you've lost your job, you're catastrophising, your house is gone, you might end up with coronavirus. At that point, it's an avalanche, like you're gone, you've missed the opportunity. So through meditation or just a simple, I was going to say to you, I would share some things with your guests if they wanted to get in touch. I've got loads of wee kind of rescue hack thought techniques and breathing patterns that they could tap into if they want me to send that. I'm happy to do that. And it's wee like breathing techniques. It's like different wee creative ways, easy, so simple but so effective things that you can do when your thoughts are at pebble sizes. If you start interrupting them at that point, then you're putting like a wee roadblock up, and sooner or later that wee neural pathway is going to hit it enough times and it'll be like, oh, Paul doesn't want to feel like this anymore, and it will start going a better direction. Yeah. So yeah, it's about the thoughts. Yeah. It's always the thoughts.
Absolutely. I mean, it's creating better mental habits, isn't it? I think that what's interesting there is like consumption's something that I always use an analogy, and I used it a lot when I was studying in mental health, was I knew a lot about diet and I knew a lot about garbage in, garbage out. And then I started to make this connection while I was studying oh, wait a minute, if I watch 100 YouTube videos that are talking about how shit the planet is, how crap the environment is, we're all going to die within 15, 30 years, I'm going to be mentally unhealthy, just like if I stuff my face full of Pizza Hut all day, I'm going to be physically unhealthy, or if I don't go to the gym, I'm going to end up unwell. And I actually find it incredibly sort of mind-blowing that we're not taught that for like the youngest age. Why are we not took aside in like primary one when we're getting taught the ABCs and the 1, 2, 3s and said, listen, this is how your mind works. And here is how you can start to train your mind, just like we're going to train you in maths, English, whatever. Like, here is where we're going to start with helping you keeping a healthy and fit mind. It blows my mind, but it sort of perplexes me as to why we don't do that. Like,
see, in the most simple way as well, like if you could literally break how to change your mind down to a 5-year-old, it's basically repetition. So it's like you just said, you watch 100 YouTube videos, it'll go in.
Yeah.
If you're told you're fat every day, it'll go in. If you tell yourself you're amazing every day, whether it's true or not, it's happened to me so many times in my life, good and bad. You're told something often enough, then you start to believe it, and that's how you change your brain. That is literally how you change your brain. Well, one of the ways, repetition.
Yeah, aye, absolutely. So, next sort of question that I had, because it seems to be a running joke on my Twitter feed and just when I'm talking to people, is there's going to be a hell of a lot of breakups happening post-coronavirus. I think that there's maybe a few people out there that the idea of getting locked in their house with their wife and kids or girlfriend or mum and dad or whoever it is that they share, flatmates even, housemates, is like the worst sort of situation that they could get caught in. So obviously as a joke when people are saying about boyfriends and girlfriends, but genuinely people do live in flats where they don't know their flatmate. There's a lot of people, especially where I live, that I seen a girl that's just came to mind in Sainsbury's at Woodlands Road, and a guy walked in and she dropped her basket, started crying, ran up to this guy and was like, I need your help. And I was like, right, I need to listen to this. I'm a horrible. I had to listen to it. I was like, I'm going to listen to what's going on here. And the girl said to him, I don't know my flatmates, I don't know my housemate, and I need a friend. And he was like, of course, like, yeah, we can socially distance, we can meet, we can go to the park. And it just made me think about people that are living in like halls of residence with like 50 strangers that came over here from whatever country to study, and because we've got an amazing education system and just don't know people. So it's not just about people's girlfriends and boyfriends. I know that might be a joke and it might be triggering for some people, but how do we stop our relationships from imploding when we're under each other's feet 24/7 right now?
A couple of people have joked to me about how I might be needing to become a couples therapist. You know, this is kind of over.
Can study it.
And it's true, because on Facebook and Instagram, you know, these people are making out that they've got this wonderful life, and my darling wife, my darling husband, and my little cherub, but actually now that they've got them all like 24/7,
and they need to teach their kids. Some people are having to play teacher as well, which I mean,
it'll be a complete shock to the system for a lot of people. Me personally, my partner's got like asthma, so we haven't spent like we've completely been so mindful of the fact that if he was to get this, it would be quite, you know, it wouldn't be great. So we've not stayed overnight or anything together during this whole time, which is fine. But I think if we had, like, I don't know, it would have been tough. Like, and we're quite strong, opinionated people, and you know. And obviously he's worried about, you know, he's got asthma and all that sort of stuff. But I'm like the total other end of the scale. I'm like, it's cool. Like, let's just, it's fine type of thing. And he's like, how can you say that? So I get it. On the other side of that is I've actually been spending so much time with my daughter, which has been fantastic.
Yeah.
And that's because I don't really get to, like you say, I don't really get to do that normally when I've got such a high demanding life type of thing. But where in terms of the people who are like locked in with their whole kind of family, I think it's going to be really, really, really challenging. I think the best thing that they can do is make sure that they're still getting time for themselves, even though they're confined in like the one space. I feel like they still need to get their time to themselves, but also to just get a bit of compassion for the other person. So we're all going to go up and down in waves. We'll feel good some days, and the other one will feel bad other days. And it's about, I think the best tip I could ever give is just to listen. Like, don't even say stuff. Like, don't try and get and fix their problems and or argue and all that sort of stuff. Just listen, just shut up and listen.
Triggering for me.
It.
I just get like a wee emotional trigger there, because that is something that my girlfriend hates, is when I try and solve it. I'm a typical guy. I try and fix the world.
Solution.
Yeah, I'm just like, right, do you know what?
I'm a bit like that myself.
What's the solution? Like, where's the solution here? Let's find the positivity in this. Like, in some, I mean, it took maybe even a year of us going to each other for her to turn around and say, listen, I don't want you to fix me, like, and or fix. If I'm having a situation at work, you don't need to give me advice. All that I want for you is to listen.
Yeah.
And when I went to study to become a counsellor, that was the hardest thing I ever did, was to sit down and go, how good am I at listening to people? I'm just constantly waiting to respond. I'm just sitting there just going, I know what you're going to say. I know what you're going to say next, and I know what the answer is to that, so you don't even need to tell me. No realising that the biggest part of it is just letting people express themselves and get that sort of like that weight, maybe. If they're waiting to say something or something's in their mind, it just feels like a weight, and all you need to sit down and just sit down and go, tell me. And that's it. That's what, sometimes that's all you really need to do.
I think in a client situation, I'm great at listening, right? But like, or for example, my daughter, like not that long ago, she was like, "Mum, like sometimes I just want you to be like, oh, do you know what? I know that's tough, pal. Like, let's just use a cuddle." I'm always like, "Go and do self-hypnosis, go and meditate." I was like, she went, "Mum, just no, just be a human," and she really woke me up that day. But like, just basic listening, it's doing nothing. I think we find that difficult.
Yeah, absolutely. Would you suggest that people take their government allotted hour for exercise outside, like maybe even think about splitting off and taking that by yourself?
I probably would try that if I was in the situation. I would explore loads of different things and see what works. But I certainly think an hour to yourself. And I personally go to Bella Houston, and sometimes if I get stuff in my mind, it sounds crazy, right? But whatever. I sometimes imagine the wind sort of blowing all my thoughts and my stresses out my head, like leaves falling off the trees, and I visualise them going behind me. And I instantly feel calmer.
Are you a proponent of journaling? So, like, let people just get their thoughts out. If you get like anger or frustration building up, just write everything out. Just let your consciousness spew it onto the paper, and then do whatever you like with it. I mean, you can even just put it in the bin. But I'm huge for that.
I'll add to your the wee guide that I've made up for your viewers and yourself that will send you. Kind of got a wee bit about this in it, but I'm a big proponent of journaling all the negative stuff, like kind of during the day. So you spend 20 minutes once or twice a day if you're having a right tough time, getting it all down. But at night time, we also must journal the good, right? So I call it a happy journal. So we're so good at practicing feeling shit.
Yeah.
But we need to. It's an absolute must to practice a happy journal. So write down a good memory, a good thing that happened. It might be for me personally, it's the stupidest, tiniest wee things that bring me so much pleasure and joy. So do the gratitude and the happy stuff in the evening before you go to bed, because that's the kind of stuff that will ruminate through the night subconsciously. But yes, journaling is huge, because it gets it to here, down to here. It gives you a bit of distance.
Yep.
Gives you an opportunity to look at it. And a big theme for me, no matter who I'm speaking to or what I speak about, is only deal with facts. So if you're looking at stuff that's been in your head, and it's stuff that might never happen, it never has happened, or maybe it happened 10 years ago type of thing, or whatever it might be, only deal with facts and only deal with the present moment, because that's literally, do you know, I mean, we could talk about this probably for hours upon hours, but it's true. There's no point worrying about yesterday or tomorrow. Deal with facts and deal with what's going on today, kind of thing.
Perfect. And that goes back to what you were saying earlier on about like curating catastrophe in your mind, and thinking about people. Oh, I'm worried about my mum. I'm worried about, well, where is your mum? She's in the house, right? Well, what you worried about? Like, the future will be the future, and we'll deal with, like, I'll deal with that when it, like, cross that bridge when you come to it. It's one of the oldest sayings, but one of the best pieces of advice. I've had problems with addiction in the past, and one of my vices, shall we say, was pornography and sex. And something that I learned through that is that the good things in your mind are never as good when you get them. The bad things in your mind are never as bad.
I live by that.
Yeah.
Nothing's ever as bad as what you made it out to be in your mind when it happens. It's never, ever, ever as bad.
Yeah, that's exactly it. You'll just make it something. And I think that the worrying about something that's going to happen is way worse than the actual event itself. Like the stress and strain that you put on your mind and body through just thinking about these horrible situations that might never happen just seems like such a waste of time.
It's just not helpful, is it? Like, it's just not helpful. And I think it's already a stressful situation. So then you're basically adding more stress for absolute no purpose. I think you said earlier about the news app thing. To be honest, at the start of this, and I switched the TV off like 6 years ago. I don't watch any TV. Like, I use YouTube to just study my craft. Basically, that's the only kind of filter I have.
How do you watch Friends? Obviously, like, where do you... How do you live?
But at the start of all this, I did find myself. Even, I couldn't believe that I was nearly getting drawn into it, and I noticed that I was not feeling it was going to make me feel good, and I thought, right, what, I'm actually seeking this out, watching this stuff, it's not helpful, and I see as soon as I realise something's not helping, I kind of knock it in the head. But I'm human, so I was definitely getting drawn in, and I know for sure if I kept that up, I mean, people's mental health, if it was already really bad, like now I'm going to be busy, and I don't see that as a good thing, because it's scary. It's scary what's actually going to come to this mentally.
Well, I mean, even just some of the stuff that I'm seeing just now, like getting shared on social media, like there's people in America that are out there protesting being locked up for a virus that they could potentially kill them, and begging to get sent back out. And that to me is like some kind of mental illness that you're actually, this is for your own well-being and the well-being of your friends and family, and you actually are out there asking to get put back out in harm's way because the economy. Like, let's just park that one for another time, because I'm off on a run.
I know.
I suppose that what we were talking about there sort of feeds into how to keep sort of worry relative. I think that there's a lot of, back at the start, I seen a lot of chat, and also I did feel this myself, that there was a lot of people out there sort of going, look for the positives in this situation, and there are, I think, probably quite rightfully, people out there going, no, wait a minute, like, I've got a business that's gone under, I've not been paid for 5 weeks, I don't know how I'm going to feed myself, never mind anything else. So there is quite a lot of legitimate worry. For me, the mental health crisis that we are facing, or we faced in 2019 going backwards, before 2020 hit was a widespread irrational fear of nothing, or anxiety about things that you're just kind of like, that isn't a relative worry. If you're worried about your life, well, then don't cross the road, because the potential is there for you to get hit by a car and die, and that is just a reality. But how do suppose it's about resilience. Like how do people deal with a relative amount of worry and anxiety that is, and quite rightfully, there for them?
I think obviously it depends on everybody's situation, doesn't it? So I think there's a certain level of worry about things that are happening to you like right now, and like, but I don't think they can worry about things that might happen like a year down the line. And I think for my sister, you know, I don't want to get into her life too much, but she was having to stay off work there for taking a wage hit. Her partner's kind of sick and stuff like that, and she's got a daughter. Like, she's now became the only person earning, and that, you know, took half her money. And so obviously stress and worry like were horrific for her. So I think what I kept, it's reminding her, this is the saying that I said, you can't take, somebody that I work with said this to me. She went, Amanda, you need to tell your sister that they can't take the knickers off her bare arse. And that's it.
What a saying. I've never heard that before. I think I've heard every Glaswegian saying ever, but I've never heard that one before. That's amazing. So
I thought, she said it's my favourite saying ever. And do you know what? Actually, when it comes to it, if she's only got like this sick pay, right, and all these people that, you know, are bills and all that sort of stuff, what can they really, you know, actually do right now? Yep. So it is just about reminding yourself, like, you're human, you're going to get through this type of thing, and again, just trying to control those thoughts and asking for support, engaging in things. You know, you need a stress release. Worry just means you do everything like 100 times rather than just think about it once. You just constantly repeat it, self-talk to yourself, feel horrendous, send yourself into just craziness and lose your mind in the process. So I think definitely get engaging in relaxation, de-stressing, and knowing that you're kind of not alone, because every single person in this world is, you know, affected by this, like, in so many different kind of ways. I think somebody, my partner, it was actually said to me the other day, and his business is like completely dead. Like, he's not been able to work for the past few weeks now. So for him, it's been so challenging. So I certainly don't sit here like unaffected myself. But he says to me, he says usually we've got about 50 stresses every single day in life, whether it's work. You know, we could list like 50 different stresses. During this time, we actually only have one stress, and that's to keep ourselves alive. And it was quite empowering when he said it to me, and I was like, do you know what? That's actually a decent way to look at it. Your only concern right now is staying alive, where usually it's, you know, so many other things that you're worrying about all at the same time. Yeah,
I love that, actually. I've not actually said this on the podcast. I might have mentioned it to my girlfriend. I actually thought about this actual situation happening maybe about a year and a half ago, and one of the no this situation as in like a virus, but
it's just like a world sort of pandemic.
Yeah, like something that meant that everything ground to a halt. And I hate that phrase, thought experiment, but it was a thought. I did think, just what would it be like? And the conclusion.
I love that phrase.
Do you know why I don't like it? Is because the sort of Jordan Peterson types of the world that talk about like sort of thought experiments and think that they're intellects and that type of. I'm just like, it makes me cringe a wee bit when I'm like, But the one thing that I took out of it when I was thinking, imagine like everything just went to fuck and we had no money and there was no Tesco and there was no jobs, and what would it be like? What must have been like back before the Industrial Revolution or whatever? I was just thinking about this, if we went back and we had to basically turn the clock back and look at the way society was built. And one of the things that actually came out of that was, I was like, we would all be in the same boat. There wouldn't be the guy that's got the 4-bed house and the 2 cars and the nice job that's basically going, well, I look at things a certain way because I'm comfortable, like sort of like, well, I'm okay, like what's that got to... And that was one of the things that came out of it, was I was like, do you know what? We would all be in the same boat and maybe we would get some kind of fucking compassion for each other. And then I told somebody and they were like, you're a sadist? Like, why are you thinking about that? Why are you thinking about that?
I've had the exact same thoughts. I have had this, and I find them really encouraging. I think it's nice. It's a nice a humanity thing. It's like remembering that we are fellow brothers and sisters type of thing.
Absolutely.
Instead of everybody, you know, no wanting people to get and all that sort of stuff. I don't really live in that world anyway, but I like the idea that I feel like we're going back to our roots. And I really like living the simple, basic lifestyle. This living isn't actually that much different to the life I kind of live, to be completely truthful.
Absolutely. There's been so much reining in and nonsense that I don't need. And that is another positive that I'm looking at this, is that I'm going to go back to a minimalist life, and I'm not going to be opening up that subscription and this subscription when it goes back to normal, because I don't need it. I'm fine the way I am. Like, I genuinely don't need it. And I've saved so much money. I'm in the privileged...
So fine.
Yeah, I'm in a privileged position where I've still got my income coming in, but I've got so much money. I'm getting paid next week, and this is the most I've ever had at the end of a month in living memory. So I'm looking at even just the small little positives. I'm aware that I've kept you for an hour. It's been it's been an amazing conversation. And what I'm planning on doing maybe with this is, because I thought this is going to end up an hour long, and instead of doing one episode of the podcast, where I think there's a lot of people that maybe are into podcasts and they maybe don't want to sit down and listen to a long form conversation that lasts for an hour, I might chunk this up into maybe 4-15 minutes, or maybe edit out some of my own nonsense that I've been talking and just get the sort of, maybe it might only be 3-10 minutes or something, but I think I'll probably do that with us. Off the back of just this conversation, before I start to wind up, is there anything else that you want to talk about? Is there any other sort of tips or things that you were thinking I want to get in that we've not managed to get in?
Just a couple of wee things that have personally helped me. I'm loving the family group chats, you know, like I did not think I was going to be one of these people, because it's just not me, but I've really enjoyed connecting with like wee cousins and stuff and having a laugh. Like I'm rubbish at them. I just go in for the banter. So I think they're kind of good to keep yourself connected, especially for like my uncle who's not got like a wife or kids or that.
Yeah.
So that's been fun, and also the kind of community challenges. So I'm doing a lot of. I done 20k, half a marathon 2 days ago for the NHS. My pals sort of are doing a light up lockdown challenge where she racks up miles and we're going to different hospitals virtually, making money, donating and stuff like that. So I'm finding all that pretty cool. Tyson Fury, I think he deserves just a bit of attention.
Absolutely.
For just 6 days a week. Like, that's what a celebrity should be.
Yep.
Like, I can only imagine if I was a wee guy and I was like that boxer and I was getting to train with a champ every day.
Incredible.
I'm like loving it, and I'm not even interested in boxing, but I think that's total gold, and I think people should engage themselves in these type of things while it's going, because you never know, once he goes back to his full roster, he's not going to be able to kind of keep that up.
Just say full roster? Roster. I thought you said full roster, because there's a bit of a roster, but he's also like one of my heroes. I mean, since he's come back for his own mental health struggles, I listened to him on a podcast where he spoke for 2 hours, and everything changed for me when I listened to him. I was like, I've got so much respect for that guy now, whereas before he was a bit he was a wee bit.
Aye.
But I think it's incredible, the stuff like that. And my girlfriend's a professional ballet teacher, and every day she's getting to go on YouTube and watch the top ballet dancers on the planet give their tips. And that's incredible. I mean, that, like you're saying, that is something that would not be happening if we weren't in this situation. Nah. So another positive for people to sort of frame for themselves.
And Tyson actually said during the workout, this is what I'm enjoying during the workout, because he's live, everything's just coming up, which is true. And he said, I've been winging it my whole career, like the boxer that he was training. And I thought, I love that, because really we're all winging it. People just might want to make out that they're fucking everything together, but we're all winging it. And for the champ to say his whole career he's been winging it, I just thought that was absolute gold.
Absolutely.
And what people need.
Yeah, just hearing that for somebody that's an elite level athlete, that they don't know what they're doing every day when they get up. They have their own doubts. That's the type of stuff that I feel like the internet has been amazing for. We've got so many things that it's not been great for, but one of the things that it has been great for is connecting people with the information that might allow them to open the doors for them to flourish in life, instead of thinking, I've got no chance because I was told at school that I wasn't smart or blah blah blah. Fuck that. Like, you kidding on? Like, get yourself out there, put the effort in, and things will happen for you. Like that
100%.
That is like one of the universal truths. I mean, based off the back of this, like, I'm absolutely buzzing to get you to come in and speak to us and tell us your story and tell us more. You're an amazing speaker, and the content that you put on your social media is absolutely golden and such a good resource. I'm amazed that you actually give it away for free, but I also know that type of sort of thing has a way of coming back, and you'll get clients, and that'll just mean that you do better. But absolutely, like, I cannot recommend your Instagram account and people to actually listen to the stories and turn the sound on when you're talking, because just the wee tips, even for somebody like me that's been a practitioner of meditation and self-care for like 4 years now, the wee tips that I get for just listening to what you've got to say is amazing. So thanks for what you're doing. I'm definitely going to get you in to do a full podcast once we get back to normal. And I can only just say thanks for coming in and talking to me today. Hopefully, as I was saying, this is a public service announcement. I feel hopefully people get something for this.
Such a good time. Like, this is my first ever podcast. I've dreamed about doing stuff like this, you know, so it's super cool. Loved. The fact that we're so in alignment as well with kind of our views and things like that. It's so cool. You've been really kind with your things you're saying as well. I appreciate it. It's all the truth. But yeah, thanks again, and we'll get you back on again soon.